Can I ask you something? What if the problem in your online business isn't that you're missing another strategy? What if you already have a lot of great pieces? They're just not creating the same picture. Maybe you have the content, an offer, a community, you're posting on Instagram, you're making YouTube videos, maybe you're doing DMs. You've chosen a niche, you worked on your pricing, and yet somehow the business still doesn't quite come together. I think I know one reason why, and today I want to show you a very simple way of looking at your business that might completely change what you work on next. And if you are an online entrepreneur building a business you actually want to live with, subscribe and please do give this video a like, because that's exactly what we're building this channel around. Now, let me show you the puzzle. A few days ago, I was writing a post inside a community and then my community, and suddenly this image popped into my head. Building a business is like building a puzzle. Because think about how many different pieces there are. Traffic, the right traffic, your niche, your offer, your pricing, free, freemium, paid, if we're on school, low ticket, high ticket, content, YouTube, Instagram, DM, sales, members, clients, community culture, systems, automation, and probably another 100 pieces. And if you're anything like me, you probably spend a lot of time trying to figure out which piece should I work on next. But then I had another thought. In a puzzle, every piece has to fit with the pieces around it. And this is the part I think we sometimes miss in business. A great piece in the wrong place is still the wrong piece. So here's the trap, because I think online entrepreneurs are particularly vulnerable around this, because every single day somebody is telling us what the missing piece is. You need YouTube, so you start your YouTube. You need to do DMs. Okay, now you're doing DMs. You need a low ticket community, so now you do this. And then someone else says, low ticket is dead, you need high ticket, so you change your offer. And then you need a funnel. Then someone says you need to do webinars. Someone says you need to do AI. Someone says you need to do paid traffic. Get it? Maybe you know what I'm speaking about. And here is the problem, because any of those things might be fantastic. But fantastic for what? For whom? And as part of which business? Because when you look at another successful entrepreneur and copy one of their pieces, you are taking one piece out of their puzzle and trying to force it into yours. But here's the fact, and here's the thing that came to my mind recently, that you don't necessarily want their picture. We have to get this. Let me give you an example. So I'll do my best to make this really practical. Imagine you built a school community and you managed to get, let's say, 500 people inside. Fantastic. Except they're primarily looking for free information. And your entire business model depends on selling a, let's say, 3 or 5K coaching program. So you might not have a traffic problem. You might have a traffic to offer mismatch. Or maybe your offer is generally brilliant. It solves a real problem, but your spending all your, or maybe almost all your time perfecting the offer, while hardly anyone knows that you exist. That's not an offer problem. You may have a distribution problem, or maybe you're getting views, people like your content, your audience is growing, but nobody takes the next step. Then maybe the content piece works, but it doesn't connect naturally to your offer. And here's another one. Maybe someone tells you, I've heard that, you have to do 100 DMs a day. I even heard 1,000 DMs a day. And perhaps that works incredibly well for them. But you absolutely hate building your business that way. So every morning you wake up thinking, oh my God, I have to do this again. And technically, it might be a proven strategy. But does that piece fit the business and the life you are actually trying to build? And that's a different question. And actually, what I'm sharing here, this is exactly the kind of thing we're working on inside the Income Breakthrough community. Because we're not just asking, how do I make 10K months? We are asking, how do I build toward consistent 10K months in a business that I actually love? A business aligned with who I am, with people I enjoy working with, and that supports the life I actually want to create. So if you're an online entrepreneur, coach, creator, educator, or you're building something like a school community, and that sounds like your picture, you're more than welcome to join us. So we are currently more than 140 entrepreneurs inside, and there's a founding member opportunity right now. You'll find the link below. All right. What we do inside and what we want is to go one level deeper, because I don't think your puzzle only consists of business strategies. And let me say this, I work with entrepreneurs for plus 14 years as a coach, high-level entrepreneurs, and I help them in total. I don't know, someone asked me maybe yesterday, how much money did my clients make? I don't know, a lot, like millions. But it's very difficult to compare that to an online community because they have different businesses. But anyway, the thing that I realized was then, and again now, working with online entrepreneurs, is that the first level, and they might be coming in like a flow, like a wave. Some days it's the first level, then it's the second level. So there's no right or wrong here either. But the first level is strategy. And I would say that's very much the outside game. But again, they are all connected. So level 1, you do need some kind of strategy. So who are you helping? What problem are you solving? What's the offer? Why should somebody want it? Where will your traffic come from? How does a stranger become a follower? How does a follower become a lead? How does a lead become a client or a member? How do you deliver the results? Those pieces, they do matter. And it's important because I talk a lot about the inner game, and we're going to go into that now. But I also understand that you cannot mindset your way out of having no business model. You can't visualize your way out of never making an offer. If nobody knows you exist, we probably shouldn't diagnose your childhood, right? So maybe you just need more traffic. Sometimes the business problem is a business problem, but not always. And it's kind of like I just came this image to mind. Let's say you want to get down a tree and you have a toolbox, different strategies. and you have an axe, so you can chop down the tree, and then you have a hammer, right? And I would say no matter how hard you hammer that hammer into the tree, it's gonna be probably impossible to get the tree down. So if you take the axe instead, you don't need as much energy, right? And that's the same thing when I talk about these things and I talk about the next levels. So what we're working on inside the Income Breakthrough community right now is these 3 levels, and I'm building trainings around this. The first was kind of creating a scorecard where you can look into where you're right now and set goals, and then we'll follow up 30 days from now. And then talk about these things. And then we're going to dive into each area. So level 1 was the strategies. Now level 2 is the inner game. Because here's something that I've seen again and again, and that's after coaching more than 100 entrepreneurs. And after having more than thousands and thousands of people through my rooms when I did seminars. Most times people know the strategy. They know exactly what they should do, but they don't do it. And again, here comes the pieces from the puzzle in. So you might have 500 pieces from the puzzle and they are on the table like small strategies. But they have to fit. So we have to find the piece that fits with the next piece. And again here, the inner game is about maybe continue doing until you find that piece. And that piece could be, it might be that it's YouTube for you. Or it might be that writing is the thing for you. Or, there's no right or wrong here, it might be that you have been writing for 20 years and now you feel the call, or you've been pushed into doing videos instead because it's expanding your inner game. That's why I say there's different pieces and we have to find the ones that's actually fitting. So, but if you know that you should publish the video, maybe you know this one, you keep editing it, or you keep writing the video before you actually record it. And same thing, you know you should make the offer, but somehow you find another course you need to finish first. You know you should follow up with that person, but suddenly reorganizing your Notion board becomes incredibly important. And that's a different piece of the puzzle. That's the inner game. And with the inner game, with all of this comes up fear, self-doubt, perfectionism, identity, self-worth, fear of judgment, fear of failure, and sometimes even fear of success. Old experiences, hidden patterns, and sometimes your strategy isn't broken at all. But you keep interrupting the strategy before it has a chance to work. Do you know what I'm saying? I know sometimes we need to push a little bit more, to do it a little bit more, but still aligned. And sometimes we have to shift the direction, but we never know. That's the beauty, but it's also the thing that can be a little challenging at times. Coming back to those pieces, we have to test it. Does this piece fit here? Does this piece fit here? Fits here, fits here, fits here. And we keep doing like that. So, but the thing is, maybe you do have a strategy and you keep interrupting that strategy before it has a chance to work. That's why throwing another strategy at the problem doesn't necessarily solve it. That brings me to the next level. So the inner game is a lot about what's going on inside, what's the story that's playing out inside. And for most people, they don't know. But I also believe that a lot of school community owners, a lot of people who build on school, they are much aware about what's going on. And it could also be for entrepreneurs. So the more we become aware of the stories, we can begin listening and say, okay, is this story helping me or not? It takes me to the next level, and this is the state or the vibration. Because this is something that I've become increasingly fascinated by. And when I say state or vibration, I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about vibration. I'm talking about your alignment. And you can use whatever words that works for you. But the question that I've been asking myself, and also why I did make a shift, I've done that before. What state are you building your business from? So, and you can just say, repeat it in your head or answer the questions as I'm saying it now. Is it pressure, fear, desperation? This has to work. I need another client. Why is nobody buying? Or are you building from curiosity, from possibility, from excitement, from purpose, from belief? And I am not saying that feeling good magically creates clients. I'm not saying that. You still have to take action in the real world. But I absolutely believe that your state, your vibrations influences the action that you take. It changes how you communicate. It changes what you notice. How you respond when something doesn't work, how people experience you, and whether you keep going, and perhaps which opportunities you even notice in the first place. And I've been working so many years with this. I've been in business plus 30 years. I've been traveling the world. I invested more than 250,000 in my own inner journey and my own vibrations and business strategies. I built a company with 60 people. I co-created a coffee shop team with 500 people in it. I've been speaking on stages and doing seminars for thousands of people. I tried a lot. And for me, these three things, they have to work together. But the thing is, the strategies, they are quite simple. It's about getting traffic. It's about converting that traffic. And it's about delivering. That's the three things. Now it gets a little bit more confusing when we talk about the inner game. And for me, why I talk about inner game and vibrations is that, at least from my own experience, if I only work with the mind, with the inner game here, I can still be in a very low energy. But if I work with both, it's kind of 1 + 1 = 3 suddenly. So, they are not, as I see, they're not three competing philosophies as we are growing our online communities. They are pieces of the same puzzle, and then there are a lot of moving pieces in those three. So, you can have the world's greatest strategy and sabotage yourself every time it's time to execute it, or when you reach a certain level. I managed to do that a couple of times. I wrote books, quite good books, but then I didn't market them. I didn't sell them. I was afraid of being punished that it was not a good book. I created great success, but then I ruined everything. I did that a couple of times in my life, also financially. So, and the thing is, as I've seen, you can spend years, let's say 5 years healing and journaling and understanding yourself. But if you don't make the offer, you don't have much of a business. You can meditate every morning, visualize your dream business and feel absolutely amazing. But if nobody knows that you exist, you probably don't have many customers. So again, the pieces have to work together. And this is where I think the real breakthrough often happens. Instead of asking what's the latest or what's the next or what's the strategy, Maybe start asking instead, which piece of my puzzle actually needs attention? Here's the one final piece. And I think this might actually be very important, maybe even the most important one. Before you build a puzzle, you normally know, or it would be very nice to know what picture you're building. So, what picture are you building? And I invite you to not just say 10K months. I've heard that so many times. That's a number, but it's not the whole picture. Why do you want those 10K months? What do you want your normal Tuesday to look like? Who do you want to work with? How many hours do you want to work? Where do you want to live? How much time do you want with your family, your friends, your loved ones? What about your health, your relationships, your adventure, your freedom, your impact, your meaning, your peace? So I'm just saying, and I build businesses, and I've had 500 people in one of my teams. Maybe success isn't about building the biggest puzzle. Maybe success is creating a picture you actually want to live inside. And that's why blindly copying someone else's pieces can become dangerous. Because, and I did this, you might eventually become very successful at creating a picture you never actually wanted. So here's an invitation, a practical exercise that I'd love for you to do just after this video. Take a piece of paper. At the top, write my picture. You can even write my image or my puzzle. And then describe briefly the business, the life you're actually trying to create. And then underneath you can write down major pieces like traffic, niche, offer, content, sales, delivery, community, whatever applies to you. And then ask yourself 4 questions. Which pieces are already working? Don't break something simply because someone online told you there's a better way. And the second one, which piece is generally missing? Where's the actual bottleneck? The third question, which piece am I trying to force? What are you doing because somebody said you should do this even though it doesn't fit your picture? This one actually, see, you got the pieces. You find one piece. Someone told you this is the piece. You find this piece and you try to force the piece down to the puzzle, but the piece doesn't fit where you try to force it. The puzzle will never finish and never be perfect if you keep doing that. So sometimes we have to shift the tools, right? Alignment. And the 4th question is this actually a strategy problem? Is it an inner game problem or a state of vibration problem? And then be honest with yourself. Because those require different solutions. And again, your business probably doesn't need every possible pieces. And you definitely don't need everybody else's pieces. You need your pieces. Working together to create your picture. So if you're stuck right now, don't immediately go searching for another strategy. Put a puzzle on the table, zoom out, and ask, what am I actually trying to create? And do my pieces fit? And I would really love to know what's the hardest piece of your business puzzle right now. You can put it in the comment below. And also again, if this helped you see your business differently, please do hit like and also do subscribe to the channel and come join us in the income breakthrough, because what we are building in here is not this is how you should do it, but this is helping you to get clear on where you are at, where you want to go. And there's also a very powerful exercise and meditation around that. But then also, if the pieces are not fitting, what could you actually do Okay, now you know is you're in a game. How can you solve that? We'll create trainings around that. And the same as the vibration, what could you do there? So you can take the things that feels best where you are now, so they align. You're more than welcome to join us. The link is below, and I look forward to see you in the next video.